my name is John Cook, or John Benjamin Cook, and I'm from England College. So what I'm doing right now, a bit like if you've watched my other video on my football, this is my CAS journal for my IB diploma. Right, so what is, you know, this reflection about? Well, it's about ski racing, which I understand is not, necessarily the biggest sport for an English person like me, but luckily enough, I've been in England now for 9 years, and I've done skiing for 9 years, which is a lot of fun. So, and what is skiing? Well, what is ski racing? I'm sure you know what skiing is. Well, it's basically, I do two types of ski racing. I do something called slalom and giant slalom, and occasionally I do a third one called super giant slalom, or super G. And since doing IB, I started this well, obviously this can only happen in the winter term, firstly, which goes from like January to April, sort of. And so, well, when did I start? Well, I started around January, early January, around the 1st of January 2012. And I will end, right now it's March, but I will end around beginning of April, mid-March in 2013. And the way I worked out my hours is quite simple, really. Well, I just 8 weeks in England's winter term. I've done 2 terms worth of skiing, so I've done 16 weeks. And each week I do about 8 hours of ski racing. They're always allocated 3 hours. They take into account an hour to get up, by telecabine and just get ready and stuff. So I do 2 hours on usually on a Monday or Tuesday, beginning of the first half of the week. I do one on the Wednesday afternoon, 2 hours, sorry. So that's already 4, and then I do Friday, which is 6, and then I usually do something on the weekend, some sort of gate training, and that's so I'd say about 8, on average about 8 hours a week. If I don't do something on the weekend, I will have done a race, or several races in a week. For example, next week I'm going off to France to do some schoolboy races. So yeah, so I take into account some of that. So I averaged out to about 8 hours a week. So 8 times 8 is 64, and 64 times 2, because I've done it over 2 terms, is 128. So I did about 128 hours of ski racing, of action. So, well, why am I reflecting about skiing? Well, skiing for me has taught me a lot of things. I think the biggest thing it's taught me is how to try and achieve a dream. I've always, my average position is something like 4th, which is the most annoying position ever. And I think something sparked when, admittedly it was outside IB, but I was still doing this option. And something sparked when I was racing. I kept on coming 4th, and I just wanted to be in the top 3, get on that podium, get some medals, get some individual, pride and honor and that sort of stuff. And worked even harder than I've ever worked on one specific thing. Technique, my ability, my fitness. I was doing regular running. I still do. Just to keep fit. To be able to constantly go around all these turns. On average of like 30 to 50 gates on a GS course, and way more on the slalom. Not way more, but more on the slalom. So I really aspire to try, and get in this top 3. And I'm starting to now. Admittedly, it's at the end of my skiing career, racing career, but I've now got an international license. I've got a FIS license, and I'm getting, I don't know if you know, but around 100 points, which is awesome. And I've really, I'm doing well now. I'm pushing for the British team. I don't think I'll get on. I don't know. The British team's quite good, but I'm pushing, and we'll see. We'll see if I get on. So, well, that's one thing I've learned, that I have to, it is possible to get your dreams. You just have to be realistic, and you have to really push yourself. And I mean really push yourself. Sorry, my recharger's coming. So what have I learned? Well, like with football, I've increased my awareness of my strengths and my areas which I need to grow, my weaknesses. one of these, something that's changed colour. Where's it changed colour? So what's been the biggest strength that I've realised? Well, again, I think it's a mental strength, because physically, I'm not the most physical person in this world. And I just think mentally, like, my determination just to go for, a top, 3 spot is, you know, is my strength. I will not, I'll not lose out. Admittedly, right now my academic, my maths is not great, but I am determined to prove to my teacher that I can actually do better than she thinks I can. Whether or not I'll get it, I don't know, but I think it's that fighting spirit I have, which, is my strength. Now, areas to grow, once again, my physical attributes. I know my physical attributes are not great, although I've got quite, strong legs, but whatever. And also my technique. I had to perfect, not nowhere near perfect, but I had to enhance my technique. That was good. That often came in the form of Swiss balls, like the gym balls. Well, I would often stand with my legs on each side, and you would just practice your balance, and that would really help with your balance going around the corner and stuff like that. And what else did I do? Well, I also did a lot of physical. Like football, I ran. I carried on running in the winter. With a layer of thermals and shorts, and just run around town. You do a couple of kilometers, whatever, come back, and that would really help my fitness. I undertook new challenges. I've now. It sounds stupid and not really a challenge, but so slalom is a very rhythmical sort of race. It's got a lot of gates like that, and you're meant to hit them. I don't know if you look up on YouTube. You're meant to hit them like that, and you got to pull and go like that. And I'm really bad at rhythm. I know this is not particularly a new challenge, but I decided, midway through last season, that I will constantly practice my rhythmical ability. It may that be tapping on the desk, or when I'm working, trying to go with the rhythm. So I practice my rhythm, and that paid off, because this season now I'm able to hit rhythmically turns, and I can time my muscle memory and my muscle movement to move at the right time, of course. So that really helped. I work I can't say this word again. Collaboratively with others. Except, unlike football, this wasn't in a big group. This wasn't with a team. It's not really a team event. I mean, yes, you can win team medals. The best giant slalom team. Blah blah blah. But for me, the real big thing was working with my trainer. Not my trainer, but the trainer, and listening to people who are wiser than you. I think that taught me a big lesson, is that there are people in this world who are wiser than you, who are cleverer than you at that particular thing. You just got to accept it, and you got to learn from them. You got to be willing to learn from them. So I learned to work with these people, with these trainers who are amazing at skiing, and I simply am nowhere near as good as them. Showed perseverance, commitment. Again, I'm sorry, this amount of time I've done it. I've done it since I first came to Avon 9 years ago. Every winter I've been in the option. Every winter. Yeah. Yeah, I non-stop. I think that's perseverance. Apparently I considered ethical implications. I don't think I did that, to be honest. I don't know why I took that. Maybe I did that. So I developed new skills. Yes, I did develop new skills. I developed new techniques to go around the gates. I developed new skills in listening. I developed new skills in filming, actually, because I filmed a lot of my races. I can show you some if you want. A lot of fun, and I developed new skills generally. Really good. So it's approaching 10 minutes. Once again, this is quite a long video, so I'm sorry for whoever's watched this. Sorry. But here is my skiing reflection journal video thing. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a nice day. So,